Hey everybody, try this one more time. I'm joined today by Rachel, and I just wanted to have her join us and just talk about her experience going through our Done For You service with Andy. So welcome, Rachel. Thank you so much for joining us. Why don't you
Hey,
just
thanks for having me.
yeah, just tell us a little bit about where you're from, where you're based, what you're doing right now in the business and all that.
Awesome. So I am located just about an hour outside of Philadelphia. I've been in business full time as a boudoir photographer for 3 years. I'm in my third year now. And prior to that, I had always done like weddings and portraits for about 10 years or so before I decided to take my business full time.
Wow, that's awesome. Very cool. So what were you doing like marketing wise before you heard about the Art of Six Figures?
Mostly just running a VIP group on Facebook, a little bit of Instagram, but most of my efforts were really just from that VIP group and growing that.
Very cool. So you have a pretty substantial Facebook group, is that right? So talk to me a little bit about that because I was just interviewing Amy as well, and she has like 18,000 people in her group. Um, what was your process to get to the point where you're at now?
So we currently we're almost at 9,000, partly in thanks to the Done For You service. We were at 8,000 recently, and I kind of just did that group grow method, like the big add all your friends kind of thing. I did that a couple times, and it really just helped to grow our reach. And then over time, like people are just consistently adding their friends to the groups, just because it's an engaging community that's about women's empowerment. And I'm sure a lot of people listening in are doing something similar. If they're not, it's a great opportunity to market the why of your business. And so that's been really successful for me in getting to where I am at this point.
Yeah, for sure. And so with your group, like, are you going live all the time? Are you posting every day? Like, what is your kind of approach to that?
Yeah, so I don't know. I go through kind of periods. I try and post multiple times a week, maybe not necessarily every day, because I really have been focusing on wanting to, first of all, have the time. So, when you're so busy and running a busy business, just posting for the sake of posting isn't really great if you don't have the time to engage with your community. So I have been more intentional on posting at times that I'm able to engage with content that is really meaningful. And so, yeah, just doing that, going live has been a huge thing. I get calls, I do phone consults with women all the time who say, "I feel like I already know you because I watch your lives." So yeah, all of those things are really awesome.
That's really cool. And so once you found the Art of Six Figures, you purchased the normal Facebook ads course, and then how did that go? Because I know you ran an ad like back in November, and talk to me about how that went compared to how the Done For You service launch went.
So in November, or it was I think end of October, early November, when I ran that, I was, and we had touched on this a little bit, but I was a little confused. So the system was set up really well, but I think at the time I was confused as to the language. And I think a lot of people listening in on this are going to be familiar with the Molly Marie, style of model calls that had been something that was, industry standard for a long time. And so when you guys came out with yours and it was sort of this giveaway based thing, what I realized immediately was that it didn't alienate other women from, the language that was like, you have to be able to sign a full release. And so it was the system without that. And so the reach was, in my opinion, I was like, oh, we could definitely get more people. But I made the mistake of tinkering and breaking the system.
Yep.
And so my advice to anybody when running this, either just through the initial course or considering the Done For You course, it's a system that's meant to be followed, and it's a system that still allows your brand voice to really come through and be prominent. But there's definitely a lot that I learned in that first run that was like, okay, like follow the system, because when things break down outside of the system, like there's just no fixing it.
Right, right. Yeah. That's crazy. So from that first ad though, you still were able to book and make more than your money back, right? I think you said you booked like 3 or 4 sessions or something like that.
We still booked 6 sessions from that. So despite, all the things that kind of user error wise, it was still successful in terms of booking 6 people, which then filled up, because I was trying to fill up the rest of the slots in my year, which we were able to do.
Well, let's move on. Let's talk about the launch with Andy. So first of all, let's talk about the results that you got. You already announced your winners and everything because you were in you were the first round of beta, right?
Yep.
Awesome. So talk to me about the results you got.
Yeah. So results wise, we had so for me, it was sort of like from the gate, kind of like craziness. I think we launched at midnight on Thursday, and by Friday afternoon, I already had like 200 long forms. And I don't even remember like how many short forms were coming in. I just remember spending that night being like, oh my God, I don't know how I'm going to get through all of this. And that was sort of my experience the entire time. In fact, it was like midweek when I realized that people were also communicating with the bot, which I know we'll get into, but I was like so inundated in my inbox with all of the short forms and long forms and, all the calls that I didn't even realize that like, I was like, oh shoot, people are like, trying to be like, I'm so excited, which I loved, but yeah, I just couldn't. It was insanity. Total.
That's crazy. So when all was said and done, how many short forms, how many long forms did you get? How many sessions did you get booked, and where are you at as far as like money earned from it?
So short forms, I have here, we were at a final count for short forms was 1,516. Yeah. Long forms, we were at 1,074. I actually ended up extending or postponing my announcement by 3 days because I wanted to genuinely read all of them. And also, I mean, not that I didn't believe in this or anything like that, but I didn't plan to slow down my week. So I had a full studio load, 3 sessions, 3 ordering appointments. So throughout that, it was just like, insane. So we postponed it because I wanted to, be able to genuinely read everybody's submissions and make a confident decision on our winners. But yeah, there was a lot of ladies who applied for this.
That's crazy. So you booked, you told me, I think you booked 16 sessions plus the other 5 after you did your flash sale. So you're at 21. And then what's your like average that you end up earning from one session?
So at my average sale with the session fee, we're at $3,200 per client. So this is certainly, I mean, in terms of that, certainly worth the investment in time and the investment in ad spend and the course and all of that. I know that sometimes people get, really concerned about like giving away like 3 sessions and the product and things like that. But, if you're priced right, and I think most people are, at least working towards that, you make that back. I mean, more than tenfold, like crazy. So yeah, 16 directly from both the Call Now, which had a couple, and then the flash sale. But I'm definitely still experiencing a little bit of, residual interest from this giveaway from people who are now just paying the full price session fee because it took them, a little bit of time. They are not really the early adopters. And so, yeah, we're still getting lots of interest from that, which is awesome.
That's crazy. So just from those 21 sessions, you're going to hit probably over $60,000.
Yes.
Right. And you still have people, you have all those new people into your group. What's your group at now? You said like 9,000?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Just about 9,000.
And 700 of those people are new people that just got in there from this, right?
Yes.
That's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So talk to me a little bit about, you mentioned like you didn't even realize like all the conversations that were happening in the bot. How do you feel in implementing the chatbot with this whole system as opposed to when you did it back in like November without the chatbot? Did that help
Oh my
and
gosh.
all that.
The conversions were through the roof. I mean, when you're just sending people to a landing page and just hoping that, the copy that got them there was enough. It's like people are busy, like sometimes they're not totally convinced. And so the bot was amazing. I mean, people were really responding well to it. We had some people that were like, unsure of like how the bot was kind of communicating with them. And I had to actually, it was Tuesday during the giveaway that I had to go live in the group and sort of like let the little man out from behind the curtain. And I told them, I said, guys, so, here's who is communicating with you in the bot. It's not us. It's an automated system. We're using really incredible smart technology to get this out to you guys. And so they really appreciated that transparency.
Yeah.
Because I was not able to go in and just message everybody back personally. All the girls that were like, I'm so excited, or people that had additional questions. So that was pretty interesting. And so they all gave me a lot of grace for, not being able to catch all of the buckets of communication.
Right. Now, were you in the round of people that when you guys launched, literally that day, Facebook went down?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, it wasn't that day, but it was a pivotal moment in the giveaway that Facebook went down, and it was just horrible.
Yeah. Which also pulls down ManyChat because it's tied in so heavily to it, right?
Yes. Yep.
That's crazy. So you still had these types of results when Facebook was down for a day. Yes. And you said you spent around like $500 and something, or was it?
My total ad spend was $655, and that was because at the end, my cost per click, my results were so good and they were so cheap that I was like, well, I'm just going to keep throwing money at this because I'm getting these leads for like pennies on the dollar. So yeah. I just, even though I really wasn't able to handle more long forms, I was like, this would be such a wasted opportunity. I had a conversation with one of our other members, and I was so overwhelmed that I was like, I think I'm just going to turn them off. And she was like, no, don't do it, which was really great advice. I'm glad that I took that and continued to gain more leads.
That's awesome. So just overall, if there's people that are on the fence about the Done For You service, I know you were in the very first beta group, and since then, Andy has tweaked it and made it very streamlined. In the Facebook group, we've got all the different units over the 4 weeks and what each step is, and everything is templated out. But overall, your experience with us as the Art of Six Figures, just talk a little bit about that. Has it been positive? Would you recommend it to others, etc.?
Yes, definitely. Especially for people that maybe wouldn't consider themselves to be incredibly technical people. I think to an extent, most entrepreneurs are, they have technical sides to them, but there's a lot of moving parts in this for sure. Yeah. And so it was really great to have it templated. I mean, to have the chatbot already built for us, where we just had to plug in our personal info and websites. That in itself was so helpful and so worth it. And, even for people that are maybe on the fence on that initial course, it was something that I was so afraid of Facebook ads. I spent a long time doing research on them, and there is a reason why, the podcasts on Facebook ads interview mathematicians to talk about optimizing. And so it is no small feat to jump in and really learn how to do it well. And so that was like the kick in the butt for me, was when I signed up for your course to finally have the confidence to jump into Facebook ads. And, like from that first one in November, I learned how to retarget. And so I was able to use my retargeting skills, which came in clutch for my Black Friday sale. If you don't have thousands of dollars a month to hire an agency to do this for you, then absolutely, this is like such a great resource for people to learn how to do it on their own in a way that is maybe not so scary than the mathematicians on podcasts.
Yeah. That's awesome. And so what would you say if there's like one thing that was like an aha moment for you after you either got the course or the done for you? If there was just one thing you had to say, this is the one piece of information that really did it for me to help me, really go the full length, or whatever, what would you say that would be?
Um, so I think that, and I don't know, Easton, because we've had to start and stop so often today. I don't know if I really talked about it in this iteration of our interview, but I think that in regards to this campaign and the giveaway type of thing, the biggest thing for me, and I was sort of talking about this in the first time that I ran it, was the trying to separate the campaign from like the traditional sense of like the model call thing, and having it be like it's standing on its own. And I know you guys are doing that now, in that it's this giveaway promotion. And once you guys sort of came out with that all clicked for me. And it really I was able to take that concept and make it make sense in my brain. That, I think that with anything, like when you're generous with your community is generous with you. And, more than making money, like this campaign is going to absolutely make me at least $60,000. But the thing that I think that I can take away from my experience with this campaign specifically, and my time with you guys, is that it's really connected me with why I do this, because my giveaway winners, getting to hand select them, getting to know them, I just photographed my grand prize winner, and it absolutely, like there was no tie to a sale in that. And I think it's so good for us as, people, not just business owners, but people who are champions for women to give back to our community and get to really see this, because she was so inspiring and such a joy to work with. I ended up, so she won the grand prize, was like an 8x10 album with like 10 spreads, which would have gotten her up to like 15, 20 images. And towards the end of it, we were going through her image reveal, and I was like, I want to, we got them down to 30. And I was like, I'm going to put all of these in your mobile app for you, because I couldn't have her not have them, And so, this campaign is just, when you can take away from the fact that you're doing free work, and find the joy in like really enriching somebody's life without, that feeling of like, well, what do I get from this?
Right.
That has been so powerful and impactful to me as a person.
Yeah, I love that. And it it also shows that, I talk about this all the time, that this is not a magic pill, right? It's not like, hey, you bought the course and now all of a sudden, like everything is great for you. It takes a crap ton of work, right?
Yeah.
But I just hope that people understand it's not about one ad, right? It's not just about one offer. And if it fails, oftentimes we say in most of our, webinars and stuff, like it's going to fail like over and over and over again for the most part. Like some people come into our course and have a gold mine on their first ad. That never happened for me. I had to like really work at it, And so that actually kind of is like annoying to me. I'm like, you guys, got like the easy way,
Right.
But,
right.
But I think at the end of the day, like, don't get discouraged when your first ad doesn't work, and keep going just like you did, Rachel, because it pays off, and the more that you're engaged and just be you, don't try to be salesy, and even on these phone calls, like, they can be very intimidating to get on the phone with somebody that you don't know,
Right.
But maybe you can actually just talk about those phone calls really quickly. Like what, first of all, gave you the courage to get on the phone? And then when you were on the phone, how do you feel that went,
So I had a lot of anxiety, and I think that Andy probably remembers me like on my private coaching call being like, oh my God, because I had come from a place where I was doing in-person consults, over the phone consults. And then for the entire year of 2018, I was only booking people online. And so I was really not practiced in being on the phone with strangers after a year of taking a break from that. So, what I realized once I started making those calls, I had to get over myself a little bit, And I started making those calls because I knew that, like, I was like, this is for the good of the campaign. And I realized that people were genuinely excited to hear from me. And they were excited to talk more about themselves and to talk about my business and what I do. And, so after the first few, I was like, this is awesome, and so I really loved making those calls and the flash sales. So the first night after we launched the flash sale, I had given them all a link to schedule their consultation with me. And it was Monday night. I had a session that day. And so between the hours of 5:30 and 8:30, I did 8 phone calls to book the flash sale. And 6 of them booked just that first night. So yeah, it's a lot of being on the phone, but when you realize that these women are genuinely wanting to talk to you and they're excited to talk to you, I think it makes it so much easier, because I think at first I felt like I was cold calling and I was going to sound like a telemarketer, but I got on the phone and they were like, "Oh my God, hi Rachel," and I'm like, "Hello."
It's funny how just the social presence that you end up having, whether it's a Facebook group or ads or any of that kind of stuff, it almost makes you like a low-level celebrity in people's heads.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, we see it all the time. Like, someone earlier this morning was like, "I can't believe you're on the phone with me," and I was like, "Why?" Like, I'm here to help. Like, this is what we do. Like, I don't know why everyone else doesn't do phone calls, because how can you actually connect with somebody? How can you really get to know somebody? Well, Rachel, thank you so much. I love this. This is some great information. I'm so excited for your success with this program. Please, keep in touch, and anything we can do to help you, please let us know. And
absolutely.
Awesome. Well, I wish you the best, and I'll talk to you soon.
Sounds great. See ya.
All right. See ya.